If you haven't seen it, there is a viral clip on social media from Kai Cenat's Twitch stream where he and comedian Drewski are evaluating the looks of a dark-skinned black woman. Despite this woman being 10 times more attractive than either of these young men that no one would take a second glance at if they weren't famous. But it's very clear in the clip that they are trying to insinuate that this woman is a man or manly, because as is the plight of black women, particularly dark-skinned black women. You can see for yourself.
Okay, I'll show your ass.
Drewski, would you like to see?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Go ahead and take your blindfold off.
All right, but...
Why you quiet?
Nah, I'm just in shock.
What you in shock about?
Damn. Okay.
Can you get 360?
Yeah, can I get a 360 real quick? God damn. Okay. It's just...
Problem,
I'm good. I'm just...
I don't like the silence. It's scaring me. Like,
I with it. I like lace red. I like,
toes, nails,
Hell
hair.
yeah.
Like, what's going on? Titties, body sitting.
No cap, though. The body crazy. It's just
insane.
some of the features kind of...
Wait, what the
What's going on?
Nah, it's just...
Hands. What do you mean the features, Brody?
Nah, she... Like, when I felt the hands, I ain't get to see them.
What the I buy her for you, bro.
What are you talking about? Like, what's going on?
Why they said jawline?
Wait, whoa.
What the... Nah.
No.
There is a lot to unpack there that we are not going to unpack because tons of people have already taken them to task for the very obvious colorism and transphobia taking place. Although, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that for as much as people try to attack the LGBTQ community under the false pretense that they're protecting their kids, this right here, women clapping ass while horny dumb pass judgment on them, is actually what the kids are watching. Yeah, it's not looking like the kids are all right, because millions of them at that. Kai Cenat is one of the biggest streamers in the world, and the kids love homie. You remember he had them mobbing in Times Square at a moment's notice, right? But more importantly to me, and what brings me here, is there were people who had previously struggled with understanding the argument that transphobia impacts all women until seeing this Kai and Drewski clip. It was this particular tweet that actually inspired me to make this video. This tweet honestly made me so happy because I thought maybe there is some getting through to people. Maybe there are people we can reach if we show real world examples of how transphobia impacts all women. So I am here to do just that. Mind you, since we're kind of centering cis women right here, transphobia gets trans women killed regularly. Black trans women more than others. According to the Human Rights Campaign, Black trans women make up 66% of all victims of fatal violence against trans and gender non-conforming people. Moreover, most trans deaths go underreported.
So first and foremost, it happens because of the bigotry within our social culture, no matter what the race or, the religious background of a lot of folks. I think that socially, we've all decided that, trans people, their identities and their pronouns are, of no use to us, especially after someone has passed. And so what a lot of times folks will see is that families who do come and claim the bodies, because oftentimes our bodies are not claimed even by family, the families that do come and claim the body will then, thrust upon us what they wish we would have lived as, right? And so you might have a mom that will come and say, although I know that you lived as Tanya, I birthed you as Tori or Tony or whatever, male-centric name that she gave her child, and that will be what they give to the police. Or, you just have some police that will look at genitalia upon getting to the scene and say, okay, well, this man was gunned down, even though it is very clear that this person, lived as a woman or was transgender. There are so many things that happen in this particular case on a regular basis. The reason why we need to look at this is because it skews the numbers.
But alas, some people have a hard time realizing why an issue is important unless they understand how it affects them, and I rather reach some people than shame them or indict them for a politic of selfishness. So I wanted to provide some explanations and examples of the different kinds of ways transphobia harms even cis women. Transphobia is not a trans problem, it's all of ours, especially Black women, specifically Black cis women. And for the Jess Hilariouses of the world who believe cis is a new term that trans people just came up with and now we're all just running with it.
Goofy drunk
You sitting up there on that mic calling yourself a cisgendered woman. You didn't know you was a cisgendered woman until a transgender woman told you that.
I've been using cisgender since college, where I learned it, because it's actually a fairly academic term that dates all the way back to 1914 when a German doctor, Ernst Burchard, introduced it, and it has been commonly used in medicine and academia since. All cisgender means is that you are not trans, that you identify with the sex you were born, which you would think all these women who so desperately want to distinguish themselves from trans women would be hyped to embrace. It's almost like...
Okay, well, check this out, though. First of all, you throwing too many big words at me. Okay, now, because I don't understand them, I'm going to take them as disrespect.
But if you insist on being offended by the term cisgender...
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
But seriously, it's not half as important to anyone, including trans people, as the hysteria from the people lashing out of ignorance would have you believe.
You are a biological woman, am I correct?
Yes.
I don't want to use the term cis because I know that it upsets a lot of people. I know a lot of people get, so I stick to the regular school. I know there might be some trans people that may be like, you know, but it's okay, trans people. We all right.
Anyway, that is not why we're here today. A lot of people, myself included, have gone blue in the face trying to make women, in particular Black women, understand that transphobia doesn't just hurt, exclude, and endanger trans women. It hurts Black women overall, who have historically had our 1, femininity and womanhood disregarded, 2, our physical features masculinized, which will be a core element of this video, and 3, denied the social standing and protection afforded to our white and non-Black counterparts. I remember the first time I encountered how Black women's features are masculinized due to underlying transphobia, although I wasn't old enough to understand why it was happening or why it was wrong. But for those of us who are alive during the rise of Ciara, you remember the rumors that Ciara was a trans woman. And these weren't no little rumors. This was not no little rumor. This was 2005, before cell phones and social media were what they were. And I was in the Bahamas, so we were like 20 years behind. And I heard the rumor. I heard this rumor on the streets of Nassau, Bahamas at 12 years old, being repeated to me like it was fucking gospel from the Bible. Transphobia is so strong that that rumor made it all the way across the Atlantic Ocean and outside my great Grammy house in Oaks Field. So many people believe that Ciara felt compelled to address it.
There's one thing about me being a man or something like that before I was, something when I was born, I got a change,
really?
A hermaphrodite or something like that. Okay. And they said that I went on Oprah and did it. And I'm like, okay, come on now. You know, if I was on Oprah, like, I mean, it takes a while before that happens for somebody going to Oprah. You know what I mean? Like, that's really big. So we know that didn't happen. If you can find it, though, I'll give you $100 grand and fly you around the world and do everything for you if you can find that tape and play it for me.
People scrutinized every muscle on Ciara's body, how deep her voice was, whether she danced and dressed too masculine. By the time she put out Like a Boy, the transphobes were foaming at the mouth, son. And this kind of masculinization of our features and transphobia directed at cis Black women is especially true for dark-skinned Black women. What's made bad for all Black women by racism is made worse for dark-skinned Black women by colorism, which, coincidentally enough, Jess Hilarious herself is a living example of, because she has constantly faced insinuations throughout her career that she's trans because of the way her features and voice are masculinized as a dark woman, which she and everyone around her is aware of.
That's like saying some of my best friends are Black.
Right.
Yeah.
And you get misgendered a lot, Jess, which I hate.
What?
You get misgendered a lot.
People, yeah. People always, you know, say I was born a man and all that.
And I hate that.
Let me explain. Despite what the internet and real life colorists would have you believe, colorism is neither about simple preference, nor does it work in reverse. Colorism refers to the privileges granted based on how close your proximity to whiteness is. As a result, the darker you are, the less privilege you receive and the less desirable you are. So, both dark-skinned Black women and men experience anti-Blackness that is exacerbated by colorism that affects how we're perceived and how desirable we're considered. But our gender changes that experience, because a feature of colorism is that dark skin is considered more masculine while light skin is considered more feminine. So what happens is dark-skinned Black women are seen as more masculine and light-skinned women are seen as more feminine and thus more desirable. This phenomenon doesn't spare anyone. It takes no prisoners, not even the first Black First Lady of the United States of America, our beloved Michelle Obama, who was constantly accused of being a man, being too masculine, and having the size of her arms constantly assessed.
Appeared to have a very large penis in her pants. Her shoulders are wide. Her face is very, very masculine. She looks like a tranny. And so you ask yourself, are the children a beard for Obama? And of course, Michelle Obama or Michael Obama.
Or just think about all the times Serena Williams has been called too masculine, manly, savage, had her beauty attacked, from reporters saying that her competitors would not wish to emulate her muscular physique, others asking her whether she was intimidated by the supermodel good looks of her white opponents. Serena is a cis woman, but she was not protected from transphobia. Serena told Harper's Bazaar UK that, quote, "It was hard for me. People would say I was born a guy all because of my arms or because I'm strong." For dark-skinned cis Black women, being masculinized and stripped of femininity as a result of racism, colorism, and the transphobia combo pack does not just hurt feelings or make one feel undesirable, or in the case of Serena Williams, make competing in sports more difficult. For some Black women, it has the power to prevent them from competing at all. Take, for example, track star and Olympic gold medalist Caster Semenya, who is a cis woman. She is not trans. World Athletics, which is the governing board for track and field worldwide, took it upon themselves to decide how high women, cis women, born women's testosterone levels can be. So Caster Semenya, who is a woman, but just has naturally higher levels of testosterone, has had to start a whole damn human rights campaign to run track, her literal fucking job for which she has won gold medals in the Olympics, because these people are using transphobia to stop cis Black women who they can masculinize to the public from competing. Colorism is a byproduct of racism, and the features of colorism, the masculinization of dark skin, fuels transphobia in the case of cis Black women. And in the case of Black men, it's why dark-skinned Black men are seen as tougher, stronger men, while light-skinned men are seen as more feminine. This is what motivates the discourse and perceptions of light-skinned men as soft. But again, colorism lends privilege the closer you are in proximity to whiteness. So although light-skinned men do experience perceptions of softness and challenges to their masculinity that are harmful and I'm sure painful, they're still seen as more desirable and thus are more protected. And understand that for whatever gains dark-skinned Black men's masculinity is afforded by virtue of this perception as stronger and tougher is lost to the effects of racism that leads them to be perceived as threats, dangerous brutes. Although some dark-skinned Black men are able to navigate or make this aspect of colorism work for them by seeming more desirable to women who see them as more masculine, young Black boys do not have this same privilege because they're children, so they don't truly have a masculinity to hide behind unless they act out and behave aggressively, at which point they'll then be treated as dangerous and criminalized in some way. Which is why even dark-skinned Black men who as adults are traditionally and widely received as attractive often tell stories about having the opposite experience as children and having their sense of identity, desirability, and masculinity forever impacted. Taye Diggs comes to mind.
Seeing Tyson Beckford in the magazines, you know, dark-skinned, shaved head, muscular, that literally gave me something to strive towards because you didn't see a lot of that coming up. You know, when I was younger, I would go in the mirror and try to get my nose to be skinnier, wonder what it was like to have, like, you know, straighter hair. I have a trust issue with the public because, you know, I consider myself very feeling, very sensitive, but also hyper-logical. I was, I know, in Jamaica, you know, I got all this attention because I was this lead role. I come back to New York City, and, you know, once you finish the film, you got to wait for it to be edited and whatnot. And I would go out to the clubs, and I would get no play. So this was a little bit of a mind. I was like, well, I was in Jamaica, but I look the same way. What's going on? So there was a disconnect. The day after the movie came out, there was a difference. And people were speaking to me on the street. So from that point on, I was like, maybe it's not me, it's this character. So I've never really trusted, hey, heartthrob, and he's a blah, blah, blah. All right, well, you call me what you want. Like, you know, yeah. So it's still an issue.
It was necessary, I think, to touch on colorism and how it also affects Black men's masculinity and perceptions of self and Blackness. But those are not the main topics of this video, so I'll leave it there for now. But if you do want to learn more about colorism, I suggest you subscribe to Mayowa's World, who I'll link below. And if you want to dive deeper into this aspect of Black men's masculinity, I recommend you read Bell Hook's books, The Will to Change and All About Love, as well as you could check out any number of videos by FD Signifier. For Black women, dark-skinned Black women in particular, for the reasons given above, this perception of being more masculine does not just hurt one's feelings or destroy one's sense of self, desirability, and womanhood. It can and often does physically endanger Black women, as well as run the risk of costing us valuable rights. Take, for example, Michelle Dion Peacock. Michelle was 59 years old, living in Richmond, Indiana, where she was battling cancer. Michelle was a cis woman. She was not trans. She had a family who loved her. She had multiple children. But because the man in the apartment next to her, 67-year-old Tommy Wayne Earl, thought she was trans, he slit her throat because, as he told the police, she was, quote, a male acting like a woman, and that he'd do it again if he got the chance. After the Kai Cenat and Drewski video came out, Conscious Lee tried to explain to people how transphobia hurts all women, and I saw a lot of black people nailing him to the cross and saying that he just likes to think peace things to death. But this shit is serious, and he's right. The staggering and terrifying reality we need to take in is this. In America, black women are 6 times more likely to be killed than white women, okay? 6 times. And black trans women are even more likely to be murdered than cisgender women of all races. So combine the danger that black women already face as an unprotected group with the danger trans women regularly face. Both cis and trans black women are in too vulnerable a position to continue dismissing the seriousness of what happens when we refuse to check transphobia at the door. This isn't an indictment on Kai Cenat, Drewski, Jess Hilarious, or anyone else whose conch shell behavior I've used to illustrate some problems with our thinking. It's a call for everyone to zoom out and see how these interactions we're having all facilitate something much larger, much more insidious, that has the power to harm us all. Did y'all know that bunnies are gangsters? Like bunny rabbits, like straight up gangsters. I saw this thread on Twitter where people who own rabbits were talking about how they got the second rabbit and then the other rabbit murked them. So I went to, and my editor, Aaron has 2 bunnies. So I went to Aaron like, did you know that your rabbits are gangsters? He's like, yeah, see, he's like, they're different than cats. Cats like to establish a hierarchy where they're in charge. Rabbits want to eliminate the threat.